Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. Today I'm going to do a video in English talking about my hobbies since I already did a video about this in Russian, and I did have somebody send me a message asking me about what my hobbies were, and I directed them to the Russian video, but I've been told that it doesn't always translate so well back into English, even if you're using the translate function. So I'll go ahead and do this in English, but I'll also do a more in-depth type of video with this because in the middle of me recording the Russian video, I had some friends in the other room who were like asking each other what I was saying because they didn't understand Russian, and then that kind of distracted me, so I didn't make a very long video about that. And I was also traveling, and now I'm not, and I'm in a place where I'm not distracted, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about my hobbies, but in English. So again, very long introduction, but yeah. So some of the things I talked about in that video, I did talk about the fact that I like to go shopping a little bit. That's like kind of true. I actually am fairly frugal and do not love spending lots of money, so because of that, I wouldn't say that that's my favorite activity, but I was very interested in fashion at a young age. Now that I've gotten older, I've kind of abandoned that a bit, but I like it a little bit, so maybe sometimes fashion. Somebody did comment on one of my videos and said that I have different earrings in every video. Thank you. Yes, I love earrings, and that's true. I have a lot of earrings, so I do like buying earrings. Maybe that can be a hobby. Okay, so actual hobbies. I really love learning languages. I said in that video that I've studied 10, just about 10 languages, but Russian is the only one that I speak fluently. I do speak Spanish still, like at a conversational level, but not so great because I just don't practice it as much. And then other languages that I've studied, I'll just list them really quickly, see if I can reach all 10 aside from Russian and Spanish. I took 3 years of Arabic. I was conversational Arabic. I think I had like a novice high level in speaking or something like that. I don't know what that would be. Maybe that's like a A2 level or something. I'm pretty bad at that scale. All I know is I have a C1 level for Russian, so that is considered fluent, at least on an uneducated level. You're more like an uneducated native speaker, so yes, there's that. So those are 3 languages. I studied some Armenian while I lived in Armenia. I studied some Kyrgyz while I lived in Kyrgyzstan. Uh, I studied Chinese very briefly, but dropped it because I thought it was kind of hard. I've also studied French. I've studied German. Um, and I know I'm missing 2 more. Oh, Finnish, obviously. Yeah, that makes sense. And um, there's definitely one more that I can't think of. If I can think of it later, maybe I'll put it in the video description below. So, because I liked studying languages, I did have a hobby of applying to different language scholarships in like different language scholarship programs that are offered in the US. So the Critical Language Scholarship was one of them. I never won this one. The Boren Scholarship was one of them. I did win that one. And then, I mean, my scholarship to come study in Finland was not necessarily a language scholarship, but I wanted the opportunity to be somewhere where I would still be able to use my language skills, so I specifically chose an eastern city in Finland because I figured that there would be some opportunity to keep speaking Russian there. Okay, so I'm very into languages, but I'm only very good at Russian. I would like to get better at Finnish and others, but because of how much work it was to get to the level that I am in Russian and how much work I feel like I still have to do in Russian, I'm not jumping at the opportunity to spend a lot of time, invest a lot of time, resources, effort, energy into becoming very proficient in another language. I do want to do that with Finnish at some point. Right now, it's just not the time based on what's going on in my life, but it's definitely a long-term goal for sure. So languages are a really big deal. During the couple of COVID summers I had where I wasn't really doing anything, I took one Russian summer language program school thing at a university. It was remote online, so I did that the first COVID summer of 2020. Then 2021 I did one with Arabic. So I really enjoy dedicating a lot of time to those, and then I think I was able to secure funding for both of those so that they were fully funded for me. And yeah, again, so writing scholarship essays to get language funding, I guess, has been a hobby of mine for some years now. I talked in that video also about being a triathlete. So I used to do that a lot more when I was younger. I really love running. That's my first favorite hobby, probably. I've been running since I was 13 years old and I'm now 28, so for 15 years, and I run fairly consistently. I don't run every single day, but I run quite a bit. I think I've done 3 half marathons now, and I think I've done 3 triathlons. I've done a 10K, I've done lots of 5Ks. So there's that. I also enjoy swimming. Right now, because it's summer and I have a pool membership, I actually get up a lot of mornings at about 7:30 to go swim in the pool for an hour, and then I come back and I start my day and I work and I take lunches to make these videos. So these videos are my hobby also, because of how much people enjoy watching them, which I find honestly very entertaining. Especially reading the comments is so entertaining for me, so maybe that's also a hobby. So yeah, being a triathlete, even though I haven't signed up for too many races in a while. I think the last race I had was I did run the Helsinki half marathon in, when did I do that? 2023 maybe. And I also ran one in Switzerland. So I do destination half marathons. Yeah, so I really like cardio. I'm not very coordinated. I used to get picked last in gym class. In case you're wondering if that's actually a thing that happens in the US, it is, and it's honestly very traumatic if you're bad at sports. Like you line up and then somebody's a team captain and they get to pick who's on their team, and obviously they want to pick the better sportier students. So yeah, so again, going back to Americans are taught to be competitive from a very young age. That's true in a lot of aspects. So yeah, I compete, but with cardio, and I'm racing more against myself than other people because I'm trying to just get personal bests or personal records, PBs, PRs. Yeah. Okay. So languages and sports, and I also really love traveling. That's definitely my hobby. I've been to more than 43 countries, or I've been to 43 countries, I guess is what I said in my last video. I've only really lived in several, or that I consider having lived, Finland being one of them, Kyrgyzstan being one of them, and then Armenia, even though I've spent not that much time there, and then obviously the US. I enjoy writing sometimes. I do enjoy reading. Yes, I actually really love reading psychology articles. So psychology is also my hobby, reading about psychology. I never really wanted to study psychology because I thought it would be impractical as a major, but that's definitely one of my passions and hobbies in life. And I have thought about whether I should make videos where I disseminate my knowledge about psychology, but I'm going to have to wait and see if it goes in that direction, which maybe it will at some point because I'm trying to make videos almost daily, so maybe I'll get into that. Okay. Another thing about me that I would consider a hobby, even though maybe people wouldn't, is being entrepreneurial. So I never really thought of myself as this until maybe more recently because I've been thinking more about wanting to start businesses, maybe making this a business, or I've also thought about whether I'd like to start a business in Finland. I did go to a lot of, like while I was in Finland, different entrepreneurship type of activities. We had one in Kirkenes in Norway that a couple of the other American students who were on the same scholarship program as me the year before had organized. So that's an example of that we got invited to and learned more about the startup ecosystem in Norway, even though I was studying in Finland. I've also volunteered at Slush, for those of you who know what that is, which is a big entrepreneurial startup type of conference, I guess, that goes on in Helsinki every November. I probably want to also sign up to do that again this year. So if you're there and you see me, you can say hi to me. Another thing that I talked about, actually, we went and talked to a high school, like a Norwegian high school, like kids there, about entrepreneurship. And I talked about how you don't really need a lot of resources to start activating your entrepreneurial mindset. One of the things that I did during COVID, and this is probably very specific to the US, and maybe people will think I'm a little bit crazy for doing this, and that's fine, I don't care, is that a lot of times people will like just pitch things out on the side of the road and it just gets picked up. But people would put out some really nice things. And one of the craziest things that somebody just threw on the side of the road was a Bob stroller. Now, I don't think those exist in Finland that I've seen, but they're very, very expensive strollers in the US. Somebody threw out a $700 stroller that was in excellent condition, and then I resold it for like $300, and it probably took me a half hour of work. I also did that with a pinball machine. Yeah, I totally sold that for way less than I should have. I think I sold it for like 100. I probably could have sold it for more. But anyway, I enjoy doing that. Why? I don't know. There's like some sort of dopamine hit that my brain gets that I feel every time I make a sale, even if it's not that big of a sale. So I'm going to call it a hobby because sometimes it's not that lucrative. So I do that a lot, just pawning things and then reselling things. I think I got into that during COVID because one of my friends who I had met on an airplane on the way to Kazakhstan. Yes, very random. Who I kept in touch with during COVID. He was very into selling things online. Like he would go to Goodwill, find stuff, and then sell it online for more. And I was kind of doing that where I would just sell random stuff online during COVID. Now I have a bit less time for it, but I still have like some stuff that I will sell. I do that mostly while I'm in Finland because of being an international student or having been an international student and knowing what the market looks like and then people buying old stuff. I do still do that. So I would consider it a hobby even though it's more of a business hobby, but I think it's fun, so I like doing that. Um I enjoy having novel experiences. Like, for instance, for work, I got to go to a work conference. I was totally about signing up for that. This also, and the reason why I feel this way is a little segue into my psychology hobby, is that, and I do advocate for people watching this if they're interested. There's something called the Happy documentary, and I think I'll put a link in it in the description below. Put a link to it in the description below. Yes, sometimes I forget how to speak English. Um, because it talks about how when you have a lot of novel experiences in life, not only does it slow down your perception of time, so if you do the same thing all the time, yes, it's going to feel like time is flying, but having the novel experiences, because it takes more effort for your brain to record them, uh, does slow down your perception of time, but it also makes you happier. So having that novel thing, especially when you enjoy it, does promote or contribute to happiness in the long term. So does being in a state of flow. So I think that having a lot of these different hobbies makes me happier because I feel like I'm in a state of flow when I'm doing each of them. I'm trying to complete them, having that sense of accomplishment. Things that I don't do that I think more people do probably, or more often than I do, is like watching YouTube. Like, actually, I listen to YouTube, I don't watch YouTube, so maybe that's why I make these videos where I'm just a talking head, because those are a lot of the videos that I watch. So I listen to YouTube to learn things. Oh yes, okay, so things that I like to learn. Learning is actually my number one hobby. I love learning. That's why I stayed a student for literally as long as I possibly could until I couldn't anymore. And I now work for a company that promotes learning a lot, and it makes sense because it's just what I love to do. So when I came back to the US, I started studying the US housing market very intensely, and then that eventually branched out to personal finance, and then that's also now branched out into starting businesses. So maybe learning about financial literacy has become a really big hobby to me because I don't think I was very financially literate. I probably still am not, but I think that's a good hobby because that's a lifelong skill as well, and I think it's interesting. Like, I do find it very interesting. So those are all the things that I can think of that constitute my hobbies. I also, I guess, in line with traveling, now I've thought of one, is traveling and meeting new people. I love talking to new people. I love talking to random people. That's why if you send me messages, I will try my best to respond to you. People have been messaging me on Instagram. That's good. I will get that notification on my phone. I'll respond to it. I also have the email. The email I'm not as good at, but I'm trying. Uh, so yeah, but I do love connecting with people, meeting new people, learning things from other people. I love all that. I love talking about cultural phenomenon, different discussions. I also see that a lot when I travel, and I really enjoy having those conversations as well. So that's why I love when you put your opinions below in the comments, because I get to read them and get different perspectives, especially from Finnish people. It's really so interesting to me. So I love that. I think, like I said, that's everything that I can think of. In terms of other videos, I know people want me to talk more about NASA, so I think I'm going to make more videos about that. I need to develop the hobby of editing my videos better because I'm still very slow at that. People are telling me that AI can help me do that. Yeah, I need to learn about that as well. So maybe these can be my next hobby, learning topics. And the other thing that I think would be very funny, because people comment a lot and say I look like an actress, I want to also make a video on which actress do I look like, because when I work at the restaurant, which I guess maybe is also a hobby, I don't know, because that's not my primary source of income anymore, and I work there because I work from home and I need to talk to people, otherwise I go crazy a little bit. But people there this summer have been telling me that I look like a different actress, like, every day. I actually started making a list of all the actresses that people think I look like. Somebody said that I look like Carrie Russell, and that's the only one that I remember because people told me that all the time, but now I look like a lot of different actresses. I'm getting that in the comments, so I was thinking about doing a video where I show a picture of me next to each actress, and then people vote on which actress I look the most like. I thought that would be funny. So coming up with different ideas for YouTube videos is also a hobby. All right, well, thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope this was interesting, and any more ideas that you have for videos I should make, keep dropping them in the comments below. I love to hear them. And I look forward to making my next video. Hopefully that one will be on NASA because I know you're dying to hear that. All right, so everybody have a nice day, and until next time, bye.